can solve a two-step equation, these will be easy. It's like a two-step equation to get you started, and then some more steps. 2x squared minus 98 equals 0. If you look at the steps I wrote to the right here, step 1 says isolate the x squared, which basically means solve it like the x squared isn't there. Just imagine this said 2x minus 98 equals 0. And the first thing you would do is you would add the 98, because you're trying to just get x by itself. So we have 2x squared equals 98. And then you're like, oh, well, how do we get rid of 2? Well, that means 2 times x squared. So we'll divide both sides by 2. X squared equals 49. Now, like I said earlier, if you were just solving that, just solve it like an x, then that would be your final answer. X equals 49. But we have x squared, so there's a little more work here. Step 2 says square root both sides. Because we have x squared, but we just want x now. So the inverse of squaring something is to square root it. But if you do it to one side, you have to do it to the other. Square root of x squared is just x, right? X times x gives you x squared. When you're square rooting 49, you're telling your brain, or you're asking your brain, what times itself gives you 49? And you're probably thinking, oh, 7. The 7 times 7 is 49. And that is true. Even if you put that in a calculator, the calculator will tell you 7. But there's also another square root. You can also say negative 7. Because negative 7 times negative 7 is positive 49 as well. So every positive number, when you square root it, has 2 answers. Positive and negative square root. You can also see it written as like x equals plus or minus 7. That means positive and negative 7 as well. So that kind of combines steps 2 and 3, right? The positive and negative square roots. So let's try 3 more. We have 3 pretty different situations down here. Isolate the variable first. T squared minus 25. I got to get rid of minus 25. So we'll add 25. T squared equals 25. Once you have the variable all by itself on one side, that's when you square root both sides. Now what times itself gives you 25? 5. 5 times 5. So we'll say t equals 5. And t equals negative 5. Which again can also be written as plus or minus 5. Okay, all right. B is going to be a little bit trickier. So first thing we're going to do is get rid of that plus 12. We're trying to isolate the n, get the n all by itself. So minus 12 here, minus 12 here. 12 minus 12 is 0. So we'll have 3n squared equals 0. And then you can't have the 3 there, so you got to divide that. 0 divided by anything is 0. Now we've got n squared all by itself, so we'll square root it. Now I just said that every positive number has 2 square roots. 0 only has 1 square root, just 0. Because there's no such thing as negative 0. So if you ever have to square root 0, that's the only answer, 0. Then C, 2g squared plus 32 equals 0. We'll see if I can get this done while the song is going. I'll just start the next one for this.